Guys, we're back for another exciting episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play, and I was just talking to Ryan here because he has a name that I can actually pronounce, which is fantastic, because in the past there's been some names that I've had to get some help from the peanut gallery on being able to pronounce. So excited to have Ryan Jensen on the show with us tonight. Ryan is with CADDIEMASTER, and you wouldn't think that CADDIEMASTER would be a company that would have a lot of exposure in the golf business. You know, you see caddies on the PGA Tour, and you see caddies at higher end properties like Pebble Beach and Spyglass or Augusta, etc. And we have a caddy program here at Tiburon in Naples during the season. And that's where I got introduced first to Ryan. And CADDIEMASTER is a company that Troon recently acquired. And I say recently, it's probably been more than a year now. But I wanted to have Ryan come on the show to talk about CADDIEMASTER, all that they do, all that he does in his roles. He's not actually a caddy, but we'll get into that. So tonight's episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play is presented by Eat Sleep Golf. And we got a bunch of fun questions for Ryan. And I could sit here and talk about what he does and all the things that he does at Tiburon with the caddies that he oversees here. But he's not at Tiburon right now because we don't have caddies. So, Ryan, welcome to the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play. Where are you? And give us an overview of what you do.
Hey, Ricky, how you doing? I'm here coming from East Hampton, New York, out on the very end of Long Island. I'm actually at a club, East Hampton Golf Club, over here. Right, getting into the busy season right now, getting very excited for next week's U.S. Open. Go Tiger. So we're getting ready for it. But yeah, absolutely happy to be here. Very lucky to travel between New York and Florida. I get very lucky with the weather.
That's actually a really good point because, you know, a lot of these courses, like at Tiburon, like we don't have caddies during the summer because it's so hot, and it wouldn't make sense to have caddies or 4 caddies during the summer, and same thing in the winters in New York. So that's nice that you're able to just kind of travel around. And that'll come up in one of the questions tonight is how that works both for you in your role as a caddy master, and no connection necessarily to the company CADDIEMASTER, but and then caddies themselves. So give us an overview of what your actual role is, what your title is, and how you oversee the caddies in your current position.
Gotcha. So I am actually the program manager, or AKA CADDIEMASTER at Tiburon Golf Club. So I oversee 42 caddies there, roughly 36 full-time guys and, you know, a couple part-time guys here and there. So my job basically on a day-to-day is to put the caddies with the groups that need caddies, right? And then also to make sure that the caddies are following, you know, being safe out there. Our company is very safety conscious. So we have a very awesome safety culture that the company has taken almost 20 years to develop. We care very much for these guys' well-being. So that's a big part of my job there. Also, I'm in charge of recruiting new guys if we end up low on staff. For big events, we had a couple at Tiburon, rounding up caddies from other CADDIEMASTER properties in Florida and arranging travel and that kind of stuff. So I basically oversee all of the caddy operations. And then I'm very fortunate to have an assistant at Tiburon that helps me in that. Here at East Hampton, however, I am the assistant CADDIEMASTER here. So my day-to-day roles here, for the most part, is to do the closing shifts. So I'll come in at about 11 o'clock, and then I put out caddies for the afternoon. Also, I'm in charge of counting up how many rounds we did at the end of the day, as well as caddy gratuities. We use a chit system here at East Hampton as a non-tipping facility. So the jobs itself are similar yet very different. Here, my program manager, Mike Dutzis, takes care of all of the transfers and all that other stuff. So the load is kind of less up here. It makes it a little bit more enjoyable, but I will tell you, at Tiburon there, I did very much enjoy getting together what I considered as my team, right? So it was awesome to be able to assemble that throughout the year.
So how long have you been with CADDIEMASTER? What kind of got you started, and how did that work out whenever you first got involved with the company?
So I actually started as a caddy at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin, right? So I graduated college in 2015. And I couldn't really find a job in my field. I have a degree in biohealth and physiology. And so instead of continuing on through 6 more years of schooling, I was just going to kind of go do something for maybe a year or two and just kind of, get away from school. So I applied as a caddy at Whistling Straits. I was granted an interview and went through all the process. Our company has a very strenuous hiring process, right? So at first we do a telephone interview. Then if they like your telephone interview, we'll bring you in for a group interview. 4 to 8 people generally they like you through that. Then they bring you through training, right, or certification, depending on which side you're on. From there, it's 4 days of training, and I will never forget my 4 days of training at Whistling. Very, very straightforward, get you to the point. Again, starting to ingrain that safety culture with our company into that, which was absolutely fantastic. So I worked at Whistling Straits for 2 years. My second year that I came back, my program manager at Whistling Straits, Pat Brooks, asked me to become a manager, an assistant manager there. I've been bounced around ever since, right? So I've been to TPC Scottsdale in Arizona, Crandon Golf Club at Miami, a little bit at Lagorce and Turnberry as well in Miami. And then I got the call to come up here last year to East Hampton. And then you guys got unlucky with me there at Tiburon. And that was where I fell. So my new rotation is kind of to be down in Tiburon during the fall and East Hampton during the summer. So I've been now with the company working on 4 years.
That's awesome, man. And the fact that you graduated college in 2015, that makes me feel even older than I already feel. So thank you for that. Now, you mentioned TPC Scottsdale. I used to live literally across the street from Green 1 on the stadium course. I could hit a wedge from my balcony onto that green. So that's
you're
cool.
there by the Princess, right?
I was right there. You turn left, it's on Princess Road or whatever that road was. And I'll never forget. I hated the apartment because I hated the people that managed it. But I'll never forget being able to literally walk across the street and be at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. So
we lived behind 13, which was great.
That's awesome. What a cool memory. Now, how many courses have CADDIEMASTER caddies? And is it just in the U.S.? Is it worldwide? Kind of what's that structure look like?
So approximately, I don't know the actual number. It's approximately 70 courses that we are operational at, to my knowledge. We are going worldwide right now. So it's like 68 courses in the U.S. And then we have a couple in Scotland, I believe. And recently they just opened up a course in the Bahamas and in Hawaii. So they're starting with Troon joining us here. We've just been expanding. I mean, you knew Will Dietz, my assistant at Tiburon. He's actually managing a new property in Massachusetts, the Links at Perry Cabin. So, I mean, just new properties like that just keep popping up and popping up. And, I mean, it's phenomenal. Just super exciting.
So talking about Troon, good segue. Tell me a little bit more about that from your shoes. And did you work with CADDIEMASTER before the Troon acquisition?
Yep. So I was actually, when Troon partnered / bought CADDIEMASTER, I was actually the assistant manager at Crandon. And I mean, I know very little of that detail as well. Sorry to be kind of a bummer there. But I will say that just kind of the atmosphere of everything, it just seemed to be a little bit more of like a calming source, I guess. It was like, oh, we're welcoming in Troon, you know, get kind of calm here, and then we're just going to do some rapid expansion. So from that standpoint of it, I mean, just a lot of fun and to be in that atmosphere, right? And I had never been in a company that was bought by another company, you know, so.
Well, so, and that's, I didn't really know much about because I was in the corporate office when that whole thing happened. And I don't really remember it just happened. It was just like overnight, like, hey, Troon bought CADDIEMASTER. Cool. Here's what it does. Here's the programs. And what's cool is to see so many facilities welcome CADDIEMASTER. And, you know, even here in Southwest Florida, Tiburon and Audubon Country Club utilizes them. I don't know if you guys have much of Colonial. And do you know what properties in Hawaii? Are they Troon properties in Hawaii?
I would imagine so. I mean, I don't know for sure. Like I said, there's so many golf courses that we're there at. It's just hard to keep all them names.
Any idea how many people work for CADDIEMASTER overall?
There's got to be, we got to have, I want to spitball it at 2,500 caddies minimum.
That is bananas.
I want to say that,
I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, and there's probably close to 100 managers. I mean, that's a loose figure right there, but I want to say close to 2,500 caddies. And see, we're fortunate enough to manage several very large destination golf kind of properties, as in Whistling Straits, Pinehurst, out at Pebble Beach, Sea Island. So some very, very large properties that we have caddies at.
So what about celebrities? Have you ever caddied or been involved with a caddy that has caddied for a celebrity?
I have actually caddied for, I don't know if I want to say like big time celebrity, but out at TPC Scottsdale, I caddied for Patrick Peterson for the Cardinals there, and that was awesome. And actually, it was FC1, so it was just me and him riding around in a cart the whole time. That was awesome. And then actually, I was in a group again at Whistling here, caddied with Ron Harper, used to play for the Bulls. Now, I'm not a big basketball fan, right? I watch it if it's on. My roommates are big into it, but I knew like nothing, right? So one of his buddies in the group, it was on like 16 too. This is so bad. He's like, so you know who this is, right? I was like, yeah, man, it's Ron. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. I very much enjoyed his company. He's like, no, man, that's Ron Harper. I was like, okay. He's like, no, he played with the Bulls, you know, with Jordan and won NBA championships. I was like, oh.
That Ron Harper. Yeah. I wouldn't know who he is. I mean, I would have no idea.
So embarrassing. That's terrible. But yeah, very few, and every once in a while too, like at TBC Scottsdale, Bubba Watson rolled through and one of our guys, you know, caddied for him. So it happens. I wouldn't say frequently, but every so often, you know, you hear of a guy caddying for a celebrity.
That's cool. Now, caddies work hard. There's no question. They're out there grinding. And I'm curious, what are some of the challenges the caddies have, both here at Tiburon and where you are in New York, but also just overall? Are there any trends that just pop up of things that caddies complain about? Are there negative things that they have to go through in their day-to-day operations?
I would say that the probably biggest complaint that I receive especially at Tiburon, would be the frequency of work. Now, this is kind of the ebb and flow that we go through in a golf season, right? It's going to be very busy at some times, and then there's going to be no work, you know, at other times, right? So right now at East Hampton, we are definitely in a shoulder season. So we're doing very, very minimal rounds a day. So my number one complaint is guys not working enough, you know, but other than that, I would say that most of the stuff is just kind of a day-by-day basis. You know, this guy had a bad interaction with his group, you know, and tried to stay positive through it, but, you know, just really kind of beat him up throughout the day. And I have some very fun conversations like that with guys afterwards. And I sympathize with them because I was a caddy at one point in this, you know, in this whole ordeal too. So I remember coming back and talking to my buddies like, oh God, I can't believe this guy, you know, what a weirdo, you know, or he hit his ball so far right on eight, and then on 9, it was so far left, and I'm just walking, zigzagging all over the place. So I sympathize with some of it, but, overall, not a lot of complaining. I'd say that being a caddy at between Tiburon and East Hampton is very, very profitable for these guys.
That's really cool. Now, you're really about these segues. So what's the tipping like? I mean, we at Tiburon recommended $25 gratuity. 2 years ago, you had to pay an additional fee for the 4 caddy, even though it was required. Now going forward, it's worked into the rate. So what's the tipping strategy look like for caddies? And then on the other side, what do some caddies get? No tip, and then do others get $100? Kind of what's that whole process look like?
So it's different based on course to course is different. So when I worked at Whistling Straits, it was for bag carry, it was $40 a shoulder. So if you went out for a double bag 18, you can kind of somewhat expect to make $80, right? Now that is a gratuity, of course. So if they feel that your service was not, you know, warranted of the $40 or $80, then, you know, then I'm sorry, buddy. That's just the way it is. At Tiburon, like you said, recommended $25 a bag for the 4 caddy. Here at East Hampton, it's a recommended of $60 per shoulder on 18 and $35 a shoulder on 9. So like the numbers are jumping all over. And it's kind of more so set by when my company comes in and pitches the caddy program to a course, the course and my managers, the corporate guys, they sit and they really talk about, you know, what would be a good gratuity policy to have. Also, at the end of all of our rounds, especially at Tiburon, we hand out the evaluation cards, right? So our evaluation cards it's just a short little survey, just ask how their caddy experience was, all that kind of stuff. And then on the back, we make sure to put the gratuity policy so that no one's feeling like they got gypped. Like if my caddy comes up and says, hey, man, recommended is $25 a bag based on level of service. That way there's a printed proof of that's actually what it is. I would say on average, guys are probably going to make a little bit more than minimum. There's definitely great loops out there, and then there's definitely some days where you're going to come in maybe a little shy.
So that's an interesting, just that how different the fee structure kind of is from course to course, and like we don't have a 9-hole rate here at Tiburon, so it's different. You talk about the bag, whether it's a 4 caddy or an actual loop. And that plays a little bit into this next question. So the model, like the business model. So are these guys all employed by CADDIEMASTER? Are they employed by Troon? Do caddies like you moving from club to club? Do a lot of them move from club to club, or kind of what's that look like as well?
So our company is actually broken into 2 models, if you will. So there's the CME model, which is an employee-based model. So caddies at a CME golf course are employees of CME, right? And then the other model is a CSI, which is what we have at Tiburon and East Hampton. It's the caddy services model. The caddies here are private contractors or personal contractors, right? So in generally speaking, the caddies don't flip in between the models, right? So if you start as a CME, you're going to stay CME. If you start CSI, you're going to stay CSI. That being said, I would like to say there's probably an equal amount of courses on each of the models. Generally speaking, your bigger golf courses are more of the CME model because it allows the managers to be a little bit more on top of caddy appearances, a little more strict on rules and regulations, that kind of thing. With the CSI model, where the guys are private contractors or personal contractors, you can suggest things, but I can't out and out tell a guy how to do his job. I mean, he is contracted through CSI to do the work that we're asking.
That's cool. I didn't realize that. I mean, and it's interesting that it's split too. So like the guys down here, are the guys down here in Tiburon, they're not in Naples anymore? They go to another property, and do they get to pick the property, or does CADDIEMASTER control where that goes?
Mm-hmm. So for the most part, we offer transfer opportunities to our guys within the models, right? So we're CSI at Tiburon. So I sent guys this summer out to Pebble Beach. I sent a couple to Valhalla, and a couple of them, let's see, I got one at East Hampton, and I think that might be it. Yeah, so they kind of, as long as it's within the model, they have, kind of every right or the privilege to go and transfer to these other golf courses. CADDIEMASTER doesn't really say, hey, like, you can't transfer. But that being said, if a course is full, if there's really no spot for extra staff, we can't kind of make that happen, right? I can't just say, hey, Ricky, you really want to go and be a caddy at Pebble Beach, right? And then I call up the Pebble Beach manager and say, hey, I got this great guy. His name's Ricky. I'd love to send him out to you for the summer. And says, oh, I'm sorry, we're at full staff. I can't be like, all right, well, here he's coming.
Yeah, exactly. So what's your most memorable experience, either as a caddy or in your current capacity as a CADDIEMASTER? There's something that stands out as the cherry on top of your time thus far with CADDIEMASTER.
Honestly, I was so incredibly excited to finally become a program manager at Tiburon. That was definitely a standout kind of thing there. It was something that I was striving for when I first started as a caddy. It's like, okay, I want to be a caddy, and then they invited me to be an assistant manager, and from there I wanted to move up. I had no intention of being an assistant manager for, an extended period of time. I was just trying to work hard and to do everything I could. So when I finally got the call that I was going to be the program manager at Tiburon, I was pretty excited. That was definitely a fun week.
Well, and the perk of playing these 2 golf courses is definitely got to be a nice little addition to.
Oh, I am an absolute golf fanatic, as you know. So playing multiple courses, I'm very happy about.
And you grind on the putting green. Like, I practice a lot. I've started practicing more and more. I've been taking lessons with Bernard Sheridan, who works out with Bobby Clampett at the Impact Zone Golf Academy. Bobby, who was on this show just a few weeks ago. Bernard's been on this show in the past. And it's funny, I've not had Bernard on the show since I've been working with him. But he has this goal of getting me to become a scratch golfer. And just thinking that is just crazy to me, that I could be good enough to be scratch. But he said, give me a year and I can get you there. And it's interesting to see how much you practice. And now that I'm starting to, like, I practice today. Like, I'm out there putting and just trying to grind. So I appreciate other people that grind just as much as you do. And you hit the ball a lot further than I do. So I think that when we play, I should be allowed to tee up at least 2 tees in front of you just to make it even. But
still doesn't go straight, man. It doesn't like goes this way.
Now, here on the hashtag Wednesday Match Play, we do this in 2 segments. The front 9, it's all business. It's all stuff that's talking about you and Caddy Master and everything that you got going on. The back 9's a little more fun. We're gonna have some fun with these 9 questions on the back 9. So let's relax a little bit. Let your hair down. You ready for your back 9?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 courses at Tiburon, the gold course and the black course. I prefer the black course because it's a better, in my opinion, golf course for a shot maker. But the gold course is where they host the LPGA Tour event and the PGA Tour event. Out of the 2 courses, which is your favorite and why?
I prefer the gold course, actually. So the black course is tighter, right? Especially the 9 holes that were original. And I like to pull out the driver because it's more fun, obviously, right? So I prefer the gold course. I think that I like the greens on the black course a little bit better. So if you put the black course greens on the gold course, we'd have like the best course in my opinion.
and to your point though about it being tighter, especially the front 9 of the black course, I think that what's fun about it is that you don't have to hit driver. I know that it's fun to hit driver. I played last Tuesday. I hit driver 4 times. I mean, and quite frankly, there's a par 5 that you don't need to hit driver on. I hit driver right, couldn't go for the green in 2. Hit driver 9-iron wedge. I could hit 3-wood 7-iron wedge just as easy. So
yeah,
that's what I like about it.
Finally, by the end of the season, I smarted up and I bought a 2-iron, and I played that 2-iron all over the black course. That was my go-to.
See, that right there, everyone watching at home, that means he's a good player if he can hit a 2-iron. So I have a 3-iron, but it's a hybrid, so I'm getting old fast.
It's a TM. It's got thick. It's a little thick.
What's your favorite golf movie? And if you say The Legend of Bagger Vance, you're lying.
Oh, what? See, that movie is just so, it blows my mind every time I watch it. I honestly, you got to go with the Caddyshack. I mean, there's no other way to go than Caddyshack. I work as a caddy master, Caddyshack. There is yet to be a round where I've caddied or a day that I've worked that someone has not referenced that movie. I probably could recite the whole dang thing.
Okay, that I'm gonna allow. You're too young to even really be able to appreciate that movie because, like, I'm too young to really be able to appreciate that movie. But you're right. As a caddy, that makes sense. I'm gonna allow. That's a good pick. What golf ball are you currently playing?
I do play the Titleist Pro V1X that flip-flops quite a bit with the TaylorMade TP5X.
The TP5 is a good golf ball.
I love the TP5. The problem is I find a heck of a lot more Titleists out there, so I'm much more prone to play the Titleist.
I will tell you, so I've never played anything but the Pro V1, not the X. I don't swing hard enough to hit the X, but since I've been working with Bernard and I'm hitting the ball further, he's got me engaging my workhorse. That's what he keeps saying. Basically, I'm hitting the ball a club further to where it should be. And I've started playing the Chrome Soft, and I think that the new Chrome Soft, and it says it right there, and the dots are different. I think that ball, especially at Tiburon, because the greens don't spin because they're new from being remastered in the last couple of years. I feel like I hit the Chrome Soft just as far, if not maybe a little further than the Pro V, and it's current in play right now. So we'll see how that goes.
I like the TP5X because it holds up a little bit better in the wind. So, like, if I'm gonna go play a tournament, and I really am gonna go grind out on it, it's TP5.
See, if I'm gonna play in a tournament, which I don't play in tournaments, I'd like to maybe as I get better, but I'm playing Pro V1, and I don't know why I'm sitting out here playing with anything but the Pro V1. But that's a good point. So you talk about how far you hit your driver and your 2-iron, whatever. How far do you hit your driver? Be honest. How far do you hit your driver?
Just to be very, about 300. I mean, that's typical. It's going to go 290. You know, I've hit them. My longest drive ever, which happened in Scottsdale, actually, at TPC Scottsdale, was 411. Yeah, so, but I would say between 290 and like 305.
So I didn't hit it 411, but I was in a greenside bunker at the old course in Scotland. It was a 407-yard par 4. It was about 20 miles an hour straight downwind on those fairways that are like concrete, and I was in a greenside bunker. So 405-ish.
That counts.
And I made par. I didn't get up and down. The only bunker I was in all day, too, was the greenside bunker, and I did not get up and down. I don't want to talk about it. What's your favorite major?
My favorite major. See, this is a toss-up for me because everyone's go-to is the Masters, and I love the Masters for it starts off golf season, in my opinion. All the greatest tournaments come after the Masters, right? But I like the U.S. Open because I like to see them guys get beat up a little bit. And that's why I'm stupidly excited for Shinnecock here next week. And I hope that the winning score is like -1. Like I
want to be like +3. I would love to see a PGA Tour event where the winner is over par.
That would be even better, 100%. But I know those guys are just so good. I mean, just so incredible that someone's going to shoot under par. I guarantee it. Someone's going to do it.
That alludes to a question coming later that's been asked in every episode of the show. But can Tiger get it done?
Oh, God, please tell me he does.
His ball striking just a few weeks ago was so freaking good.
I know.
If he was able to putt a little bit, he shoots 18 or 20 under.
What I absolutely love about Tiger's comeback, that dude is hitting the ball so far. I mean, he is up there. He has right now, I believe the last that I'd heard, fastest swing this year at like 129 was his swing speed clocked at. Like, that's incredible. Like, this dude has had fusion surgery. He's like kind of getting up there in age. Let's not beat around the bush here. But yeah, the dude's swinging at 129. That's insane. Hitting the ball just far.
He hit a 3-iron a few weeks ago. I don't even know what it was. He hit a 3-iron like 316.
Yeah.
I'm like, you hit what? I hit a driver 316 when I hit the cart path. So I'm drinking wine right now, and I've upped my game a little bit as the season has the show has progressed, and as we entered season 3, I wanted to get a little bit more mature. And a little red wine in the glass versus a beer, a shot. What's your cocktail of choice? What are you typically sipping on?
Oh, I go straight for the Bacardi and Coke. I believe I was a pirate in a past life. I love my rum, but I do also indulge in the red wine. My favorite is the Chianti. Big fan.
I have a second job at Total Wine and More, and it really shouldn't be called a job because I work like 3 hours a week. Like, it's so awesome. And I get a case of wine a month, and they pick out the bottles, and they send them home. And like right now, I'm drinking a Pinotage. I would never buy a Pinotage, but it's fantastic. And nice. I had a Chianti, my first and only that I've had Chianti a few weeks ago. It was fantastic, and that's what's cool about it. Because I'm such a beer guy, right? It's nice to be able to put my palate in an uncomfortable position drinking so many different wines. So I'm a red wine guy, though. So there are a lot of golf courses out there, as you know. You've played a lot of them. You've worked at a lot of them. What is the best golf course you've played, and the worst golf course you've played?
Of like popular golf courses, or can there be
any course? That it could be a goat ranch that you love for whatever reason, or it could be the most amazing golf course property you've ever stepped foot on.
So my favorite of all time, and this is going to go against so many, if anyone from Whistling Straits is listening to this, they're going to hate me. The river course at Black Wolf Run is my 100% favorite golf course I've ever played. It is absolutely fantastic. Pete Dye did more than a phenomenal job on it. That course will keep you literally on your toes from the first tee to the 18th green. It is absolutely an incredible round of golf. The Straits is a dead tie for, like, call it 1.5. Because that place, I said it from the beginning when I started caddying there, the second that I stopped getting the chills standing on number 1 tee, I was going to be done because I was so excited to see that golf course again. The worst course I've ever played. Ooh.
Just try to make it not a turn course if you could.
I've played. I see, and this is the thing. I don't know how many turn courses I've played. I have to go back and actually look at it. The worst course I've played. Oh God. Oh, this is great. So my grandparents lived next to this golf course back in Wisconsin. I don't even want to call it a golf course, actually. It was built, like the idea behind building it was that they were going to put a bunch of money into it, build houses around it, very much like a Florida style kind of thing. And they ran out of money. They stopped building houses. So this course just went to complete crap. Right. But they would let us come out and they still had pins in, you could play for $5. Right. So me and my grandpa would go around and play this thing, but the fairways were like that long. You would lose a ball in the fairway. There was no even putting. We called it the gravel pit. I actually don't even know the name of the golf course anymore, but that is
gravel pit golf club would be a good name for a golf course. Literally
the worst. I don't even want to call it a golf course. It was the worst place to hit golf balls at ever.
Okay. The gravel pit it is. Now, I'm very normally cautious to ask this question, but I think I know how you're going to answer. Do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
See, I do believe that he breaks it. Now, and this is the reason why, because of the current condition he's in right now. I believe that if he stays healthy, will get to play golf for a very, very long time.
Think about it. He's hitting the ball 340 yards off the tee at 42.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absurd.
I think the dude will legitimately be able to play high-level competitive golf until 55 or better.
Or better.
Yeah. So I really, truly believe that he will break Jack's record. And I would love to see it. Absolutely love to see it.
How good would it be if he broke it? And it's like 2 or 3 years from now, there's a big anniversary at the Home of Golf where they're having the Open Championship that year of the anniversary. Like, how good would that be? Like,
that would be incredible.
I think he could win at Augusta until he's 80. And I think he win anywhere in Scotland, not hitting driver, not needing to hit driver until he's 80. I mean,
see, and again, too, I bet he kind of pulls a Tom Watson on us when Tiger's like 64 or something like that. Him at Augusta is going to be like a thing. I'd be willing to put copious amounts of money on it.
And what's funny about him is, one, he's never going to play the Champions Tour. I don't even know if he knows what the Champions Tour is. He's never going to play a swing. He's not a Bernhard Langer. He doesn't care about those tournaments. And I don't honestly think he cares about being an honorary starter. I think it's when he's done, and you never see him again kind of a thing. Yep. And I don't think he's done. And I honestly think that the major record is why he's playing, but the wins record is important. And I think he gets that just by default, just by playing.
Yeah. He's going to be
gets that
problem.
But imagine him getting that. And, to Johnny Miller's point, he's going to have to break it by at least one. He can't tie it. And if he breaks it by one, then I can imagine the interview with Johnny Miller like, oh, well, he only broke the record by one. Well, shut up, Johnny Miller. But if he ties it, that's almost as much. I'd rather him not get to it than to tie it.
So I would rather have him stay where he's at now than tie it. Like, if he never wins another major again, okay, then we can, continue this comparison between Tiger and Jack and who's greater and that kind of stuff.
Tiger, 100%. Not even close.
No one's been more dominant ever in the game of golf.
And it's not just, and to that point, though, it's not that dominant. It's the number of tickets he sells when he says, I'm playing in that event.
Oh, yeah.
30,000 tickets like that because I'm playing that event. And I'm not saying that I speak for everyone. If Tiger's not in the field, he's not playing this week. I don't even know what tournament is this week. I couldn't care less. So, well, this has been an awesome conversation. I really appreciate you coming on the show. It's dark where you are now. I hear birds chirping, and I don't know what kind of wildlife you have there. A moose might walk onto your patio if I'm not careful. But your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play is, what's next? I mean, you're just kind of getting started right now. You're young, and you've kind of climbed the ladder pretty quick there at CADDIEMASTER. But what's next for you and for your role at CADDIEMASTER?
So, I mean, I'm just kind of the person always sets new goals, whether it be in golf or work life or that kind of stuff. I remember starting out with being golf, and I was very much like you. I wanted to be a scratch player and just continually advancing my goals. So I would say within CADDIEMASTER, my goal, if I'm fortunate enough to stick around with this company, I would very much like to end up at corporate one day. I mean, that seems like the way to go, progress through the ranks of director and whatnot, and just continue putting my nose to the grindstone here and just seeing where it ends up.
That's awesome, man. Well, I have no question you're going to go far with your career, and you keep working on your putting because I have to have something to beat you at. Like, if I get the ball 150 yards past me. And I will tell you, from a corporate perspective, I started with Troon in the corporate office, and I went the opposite direction. And one of my supervisors was very adamant about me not leaving the corporate office, saying, how do you know you're going to like it? And I didn't know I was going to like it getting in the field, so to speak. And I couldn't imagine anything else. Every day is different, meeting members and talking to people. And I'm curious how, through your career, how that's going to transition and how you'll go from that, being able to deal with customers on a daily basis, to then getting to a corporate perspective. So I look forward to following along and seeing where you go, because the future is bright for you, my man. But thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been awesome, learning more about you, your game, your role at CADDIEMASTER, the company of CADDIEMASTER, again, being a part of the Troon family. This episode of the hashtag Wednesday Match Play will be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook and Twitter. It's anywhere you want to find it. It'll definitely be in the Google Plus Golf community. We're knocking on the door of 27,000 members there. So if you're not a member of the Google Plus Golf community, go join. If you haven't subscribed to this YouTube channel, click the subscribe button down below so you never miss an episode. Make sure you subscribe to this on iTunes and Google Play so you never miss it. If you can't watch it, you can listen to it. And as always, on the hashtag Wednesday Match Plays, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.